What's going on, everybody? Ryan the Mighty Quinn here. Hope you're doing well. It's been a little bit on underscore MMA. I'm Cornerman underscore MMA. So you're gonna see me look this way a lot during this video. I didn't want to do the whole video with you guys, but anyway, let me just get into it. So there was a controversial decision at LFA 168 in Minnesota last weekend between Sal Guerriero and Quang. Now, I didn't see it at first, and then I heard about the fight. Let me hide that. And I had to go back and look. Actually, I saw about it all over Twitter. Here we go. There's Sal with the takedown right now. So instead of watching the whole fight with you guys while I'm talking, I'm just going to talk about the scoring situations. Now, I watched the fight, and I had a solid, maybe 3 rounds to none, definitely 2 rounds to 1 for Sal Guerriero over Quang. Oh, there's a fence grab on Quang that the referee missed. So, situations that I found. Now, you've seen on this channel a lot where I went from, I wasn't really out for blood, but I was definitely on the fighter side with my people, my tribe, when it came to the MMA scoring, the judges scoring. As I interviewed a lot of the commission leads, Mike Mazzulli, Andy Foster, Big John McCarthy, I started to understand and gain understanding of the scoring, and I got a little more lenient because I was more understanding, which I think that everyone should watch the videos and give them a look. I think you'll understand a lot of the scoring, and I could see where decisions come from. Now, we have to remember in these fights, and this is, by the way, I applaud those guys for being so open about discussing. People don't realize how open the commission leads are, not necessarily the direct judges, which is unfortunate, but the commission leads do a great job of protecting their own. So I'm very happy that they're so transparent. Now, we have to remember in a mixed martial arts scoring format that even when there's no action, there's still stuff to be scored. Now, when the normal fan thinks of the kicking, the punching, the slams, because that's what they want to see. Now, that would be the damage scoring, so to speak. We got to remember there's 3 rungs. There's damage, the 3Ds, damage, dominance, and duration. Now, remember, damage is obvious. Aside from the cuts and the bruises, it's also if they show how they react to a fight, to a strike, whether they stumble, whether they cover their area, whatever. And then dominance is, let's say a wrestler is on top of you for 15 minutes or holding you against the cage for 5 minutes of the fight. That's a dominant position. That's a dominant scenario. Or let's say the round's tied. Oh, we'll get into that later. And then duration is basically who's controlling the dance, so to speak. That's a tough one to really talk about, but remember, that's 3rd rung down there. So if damage is tied and dominance is tied, we go down to duration. Now, we also have to have a nice right hand landed by Sal. Sal connected a lot in this fight, too. That was the other thing. I felt that especially in the 1st and 2nd round, he dominated with the striking portion, as well as the grappling. Another takedown. So he has 2 takedowns in this round, and he's won 3 striking exchanges so far with 1:20 to go. Now, so obviously, just from saying that, he won situations. He won round 1 at least. Now, okay. Now, the other thing we have to remember is how it's scored. Is it more striking in the round or is it more wrestling in the round? And then we strike the damage, dominance, and duration within whatever there's more of, which Sal Guerriero displayed more of in both areas. So that's another thing that's a big deal. Here he's going to end the round on top. I'll fast forward a little bit. Even Gilbert Melendez was saying how he was in the first round starts, takedown within a minute. So he's grinding them out. So let's keep that in mind going forward with these situations. Now, I have not taken the judges course. I obviously I've spoken to a lot of the judges. Like off camera. I'm speaking to judges at events and stuff like that. Obviously, I feel I'm very well knowledgeable about the scoring. I won't say educated. I didn't take the course, but I'm very well knowledgeable about the scoring. So now in this case, let's say this fight's in Minnesota. Again, Sal's from Florida. Opponent Quang was from Minnesota. Everyone's saying that they gave the nod to the hometown guy. Now, I'm someone who doesn't like to accuse people of fixing anything off the bat, which leads me to the next part is incompetence. Now, that's a tough word to use, but in this situation, I think that needs to be used here. Now, the other thing is, I'll get into that in a little bit. But like when you get these fights so wrong, it's even if you can't just say I'm sorry. Not only is this the person who should have won the fight is only getting half the amount of money, usually, especially at this level, but it's affecting their record. Now, usually in someone like this case or at this level, they need to string together some wins in order to make it to the UFC or Bellator, PFL. And this is setting them back maybe even a year, unless they can get a short notice fight. But you're really screwing with their trajectory when you're an incompetent judge. And I think that's exactly what we saw here. I don't remember their names. I don't want to say their names. I'm really not trying to out people. You guys could go back and watch the fight, LFA 168. Now, but I'm just watching this, and even now, if Sal wasn't dominating on the ground, he's got him up against the fence. Now, there was a couple situations where, yes, these are winning situations. That's how you got to remember the scoring. You win the round by winning situations, exchanges within the round. There was a couple of winning situations for Quang Lee, but not enough. 2 times against the fence to do this isn't enough to win the round when Sal won 5 other situations. Now, there's another takedown, 2 minutes in, and then holding up against the fence. So I know I'm kind of going all over the place now. I'm just really trying to watch this fight and tell you what I'm seeing here. I'm counting the winning situations for Sal versus Quang while we're talking. So the thing that stinks about this is I told you, like, I'm sorry, just ain't gonna cut it. And these judges now, I did like how I saw last week at the UFC when there was a screw up, or 2 weeks ago on the UFC when there was a screw up on the choke, that they made the fight a no contest right then and there. That's the closest thing they've got, but I'm happy that they're starting to do things off the bat. But in a situation like this, I do know that Mike Mazzulli has said if there's ever a bad fight that he relieves the judge of his duties for the rest of the night. Be like, you can't do this anymore. I don't know if that happened here. That's something that could be looked at. If the commission lead looked at these judges and said, you can't be here the rest of the night, or maybe taking them off a better fight. There is punishment to be had with this. However, it's a day late, a dollar short. And that's what really stinks about these situations. Now, like the judge won't be maybe either suspended or maybe he's got to go score some amateur fights before he comes back to a bigger card like this. Similar to with NBA referees and NFL referees. So if they have a close call, like for a foul or a flag thrown, and it goes back and reviewed and they got it wrong, then they're going to be taken off those primetime games, or they're going to be taken off their schedule. That's similar to what happens here, but there's still so much more forgiveness in the ball sports than there is than this, because a loss is a loss. I mean, we're starting to see that they get changed to no contest, but it's not a win at the end of the day. Is what you need to really excel. And yeah, okay. And here's a good vote of body language. Leaving round 2, Sal got right up, went to his corner. Now, technically, you can't score this, but what's the name? Quang Lee was flat on his back. So going forward from here, I really wonder what's going to be. I think that this kind of puts the magnifying glass on Minnesota as a whole. As I said, I can't remember the last time that a really big card was in Minnesota. And when they see stuff like this, it gets looked at, and promotions kind of want to be careful about going there. Now, I hope that some action's taken. I don't know. I haven't spoken to anybody yet on this as far as, maybe change it to no contest. Although with those, you usually don't hear something about it until you do. See, I'm not even going to watch the third round. I know it was kind of a toss-up. It was closer in the first 2, but I know that the fight ended by decision, and I'm very confident that Sal won the first 2 rounds. So what's the use of watching the third round? Anyway, that's kind of all I really wanted to talk about here. The judges scoring, it's getting better. I wish that there was a way to fix bad calls, but they're really, and it's not. It's tough. I don't really blame the commission for being so hazy on that either, because as soon as they fix one, it's going to be very rarely the top level fighters. You're going to see these idiots on these lower shows just complaining about every loss they have to get overturned. Nobody wants to deal with that either. It's just situations like this. It's extremely unfortunate. I just don't see how they gave this fight to Quang Lee. And anyway, that's what I got. I know that James Lynch had an interview with Sal Guerriero. You could check it out on his page, and hopefully we can go forward from here. Let's clean up the sport. Later, guys.